Commander Ta stood on the bridge of the scout vessel Harmonic Discovery *, his four-fingered hands clasped behind his back as he stared at the view screen. The unknown system lay before them. Third planet from an ordinary yellow star. Nothing special, except for the energy readings that had brought them across half the sector. "Status report," he said quietly. Science Officer June looked up from her console, large eyes blinking rapidly, a sign of stress among their species. "The readings are consistent, Commander. Energy outputs unlike anything in our database." The Harmonic Discovery * hung at the edge of the system, passive sensors extended to their maximum range. The Galactic Confederacy had strict protocols for first contact scenarios. Observation first, contact only after thorough understanding. In their 1,000-year history of peaceful expansion, this approach had never failed. "Magnify Quadrant 7, Tai ordered. The view screen shifted, focusing on what appeared to be an artificial structure in orbit around the third planet. It was angular, with none of the flowing organic designs preferred by Confederacy architects. "Is that?" Navigator Da began. "A warship," Ta finished for him. "Yes. The Confederacy had warships too, of course. Small patrol vessels mainly used for customs enforcement and rescue operations. But this ship was different. Its very shape spoke of aggression. Sharp angles, heavy armor plating, and what appeared to be weapon ports along its hull. I've never seen anything like it," Communications Officer Wu said, her voice hushed. "The design is completely impractical for trade or exploration." Ta nodded grimly. "Because it wasn't built for either." The bridge fell silent as they watched the vessel. Intelligence had designated the unknown species as humans, based on intercepted communications. For a pre-Confederacy civilization that had only recently achieved faster-than-light travel, they showed alarming technological advancement. "They're initiating some kind of test," Jun reported suddenly. "Energy readings are spiking." The human vessel, displaying the name Retribution on its hull, moved away from the orbital station. A smaller craft detached from it, appearing to be unmanned. "Recording all wavelengths," Jun confirmed. What happened next sent a wave of shocked murmurs across the bridge. The human vessel fired some kind of energy weapon at the smaller craft. The beam cut through space with frightening precision, vaporizing the target instantly. "Analysis," Ta demanded, keeping his voice steady despite his growing concern. June's fingers flew across her console. "The weapon appears to be a directed energy system of unprecedented power. The yield is impossible." Her voice dropped to a whisper as she double-checked her readings. "Commander, if these readings are correct, a single shot from that weapon could disable a Confederacy cruiser." Tai felt a cold sensation in his stomach. The Confederacy had thrived on peaceful cooperation. Their few defensive technologies were designed to incapacitate, not destroy. This human weapon was something else entirely. "Any signs they've detected us?" he asked. "Negative," Wu replied. "Their scanning technology seems limited to their immediate vicinity." The Retribution continued its tests, demonstrating a variety of weapon systems, each one more destructive than the last. Missiles that could change course mid-flight, energy shields that absorbed tremendous impacts, targeting systems of remarkable precision. "They're a predator species," Jones said quietly as she studied biological data from the planet below. "Their entire evolutionary history is marked by conflict. Even their rise to planetary dominance came through warfare." Tai watched as the human ship completed its tests and returned to the orbital station. "Prepare a full report for the Council. Include all sensor data and biological analysis." Hours later, Tai sat in his private quarters, recording his personal assessment for the Council. "The species designating themselves as humans present a unique challenge to Confederacy protocols," he began. "While they appear to have achieved the technological benchmarks for first contact, their military capabilities and apparent cultural focus on warfare raise serious concerns." He paused, choosing his words carefully. The human vessel we observed, named *Retribution*, displays offensive capabilities exceeding our standard defensive measures. More concerning is the apparent purpose of this vessel. Unlike our multi-purpose ships, the human craft appears designed primarily for combat. Ta hesitated before adding his final thoughts. I must note my personal reservations about initiating contact at this time. The human's predatory evolutionary background and history of internal warfare suggest they may interpret the Confederacy differently than other species have. Where others saw opportunities for cooperation, the humans may perceive potential threats or conquests. He sent the report, knowing it would cause significant debate in the council chambers. The Confederacy had never delayed first contact with a qualifying species before. 3 days later, the response came. The council was split. Many argued that the humans' warlike tendencies made them too dangerous to approach. Others insisted that engagement was the only way to peacefully integrate them into the galactic community. We have reached a compromise decision, the council head's message stated. The Harmonic Discovery will maintain observation while a diplomatic vessel is prepared. If the humans detect your presence before diplomatic contact can be established, you are authorized to initiate first contact protocols with extreme caution. Tai acknowledged the orders, though he disagreed with them. The humans were unlike any species the Confederacy had encountered. Their tools, their ships, even their orbital structures reflected a mindset focused on defense and aggression. New activity, Jun reported the following day. The human ship is preparing to depart. Ta joined her at the science station. Destination unknown, but they appear to be configuring their FTL drive. The bridge crew watched as the Retribution moved away from the station. Its engines glowed bright blue before it stretched and vanished into FTL travel. Track them, Tai ordered. Impossible, Jun replied. Their FTL signature is unusual. It doesn't match any known pattern. Ta frowned. Even their method of faster-than-light travel was unique. Most species developed similar approaches based on universal physical principles. That the humans had found a different path suggested both creativity and isolation. They had developed without guidance or influence. Continue monitoring the system, he ordered. I want to know everything about these humans before the diplomatic vessel arrives. As he returned to his command chair, Tai couldn't shake a feeling of unease. The Confederacy had always assumed that advanced technology naturally led to peaceful cooperation. The humans challenged that fundamental assumption. When the diplomatic team arrived, they would need to be prepared. The vessel called Retribution might just be the beginning of what humanity could bring to the stars, and for the first time in his career, Commander Todd wasn't sure if that was something to celebrate or fear. Ambassador Sung stood at the viewing port of the diplomatic vessel Peaceful Accord as it approached the human space station. His translator device hummed softly against his throat, ready to convert his musical language into the harsh sounds humans use to communicate. Are you prepared, Ambassador? Asked his aide, Officer Kim. As prepared as one can be to meet a species that builds warships before colony vessels, Sung replied. The human station grew larger in the viewport. Unlike the flowing, organic designs of Confederacy architecture, the human structure was all hard angles and exposed metal. Defensive turrets dotted its exterior, not hidden or disguised, but prominently displayed. They want us to see their weapons, Sung noted. An intimidation tactic. The Peaceful Accord docked with surprising ease. The humans had quickly adapted their systems to accommodate the alien vessel. It spoke of technical skill and adaptability, traits the Confederacy admired, though often in more peaceful contexts. Captain Alina Kovacs waited in the docking bay with a small team. She wore a crisp blue uniform adorned with symbols of rank and achievement. At her hip rested what Sung recognized as a weapon, though the briefings assured him this was ceremonial. Welcome to Unity Station, Kovacs said once the translation systems synchronized. I'm Captain Alina Kovacs of the United Earth Fleet, commanding officer of the UES * Retribution *. Sung performed the traditional greeting gesture of his people, a slow wave of his upper limbs that expressed openness and peace. I am Ambassador Sung of the Galactic Confederacy. We come in friendship and curiosity. Kovacs smiled, showing teeth. The briefing had explained this was not a threat display among humans, but Sung's instincts still triggered a fear response. The human delegation led them through the station to a conference room. Unlike the sterile efficiency Sung had expected, the room contained plants and artwork, attempts to make it welcoming. We've prepared information packets about human culture and history, Kovacs said. We're eager to learn about the Confederacy as well. The first meetings went smoothly. Exchanges of basic scientific knowledge, cultural overviews, and diplomatic pleasantries. But on the third day, the discussions turned to history. Your records indicate your species has engaged in large-scale conflicts throughout your development, Sung noted, reviewing the data. The most recent global wars resulted in millions of casualties. Kovacs nodded solemnly. We don't hide our past. Conflict has shaped human history, but we've learned from it. You developed nuclear weapons before achieving global unity. Sung asked, his mandibles twitching nervously as he contemplated the implications. The human delegates exchanged glances. Yes, Kovacs admitted. In fact, the use of those weapons helped end our largest global conflict. Their destructive potential eventually drove us toward cooperation. The Confederacy delegation fell silent. Among their member species, technological advancement had always paralleled social development. Weapons of mass destruction came after global peace, not before. You're saying, Officer Kim clarified, that the threat of mutual destruction was your path to peace. One of many factors, Kovacs said. But yes. That evening, Sung sent a private report to the Confederacy Council. His message was urgent and troubling. The humans evolved as apex predators on a hostile world. Their history is defined by territorial conflicts and resource competition. Even their path to space began as a contest between rival factions. Most concerning is their approach to technology. They develop weapons alongside or even before peaceful applications. The Council's response came quickly. Some members, particularly the peaceful Lum species, advocated for cautious friendship. Others, especially the militant Rak, pushed for containment or even preemptive action. Monitor closely, the Council instructed. Continue diplomatic engagement, but assess military capabilities. The next day, Captain Kovacs suggested a tour of the Retribution *, which had returned from its patrol. We want to be transparent, she said. The best way to build trust is to show rather than tell. Sung agreed, though with private reservations. The battleship looked even more imposing up close, a dark, angular shape that seemed designed to inspire fear. Inside, the vessel was surprisingly comfortable. Crew quarters were spacious by Confederacy standards. The mess hall offered a variety of foods. There were even recreation areas. Your ship seems designed for long deployments, Sung observed. 6 months standard, Kovacs confirmed, though we can stretch to a year if needed. The tour carefully avoided weapon systems and tactical centers. Sung noted the omissions but did not press. The message was clear. Humans would show hospitality but maintain their secrets. Back on the station, Sung reviewed security footage his team had secretly recorded. The Retribution * had visible weapon emplacements, but sensor analysis suggested much more beneath the surface. Their hull is layered, Officer Kim reported. The outer shell likely conceals additional systems. During the 4th day of talks, a priority message reached Sung. A RAC commander had taken unauthorized action, dispatching scout vessels to human colony worlds. Is something wrong, Ambassador? Kovacs asked, noticing his distress. A minor diplomatic matter requiring attention. Sung lied smoothly. Perhaps we could take a brief recess. In private, Sung contacted the RAC commander. Return your vessels immediately. You risk everything we've built. These humans are dangerous, the RAC commander replied. Their weapons capabilities exceed anything in Confederacy records. We must know their full strength. Sung couldn't change the RAC's course. Their species had joined the Confederacy recently and still maintained significant autonomy. When Sung returned to the conference room, he found Kovacs engaged in an urgent conversation with her staff. Her posture had changed, more rigid, alert. "Captain, is everything all right?" Sung asked. Kovacs looked up, her expression carefully neutral. "We've detected unidentified vessels near our outer colonies, not matching your diplomatic ship's profile." Sung felt cold dread. "I assure you, if these are Confederacy vessels, they are not operating under official orders." "I see," Kovacs said. Her hand moved casually to her communication device. "Then you won't mind if we take precautionary measures." Throughout the station, human personnel began moving with new purpose. Security teams appeared at corridors. Sung's monitoring devices detected increased communications and energy readings from the Retribution *. "Captain Kovacs," Sung said carefully, "I believe we may be experiencing a misunderstanding between our peoples. Perhaps we should discuss these developments openly." "I agree completely, Ambassador," Kovacs replied with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Open dialogue is essential, as is preparation for all contingencies." That night, Sung observed the Retribution * departing station orbit, its engines glowing bright against the darkness of space. His instruments tracked multiple smaller vessels launching from hidden bays, vessels not shown during the tour. "They're deploying their full combat capabilities," Officer Kim whispered. "And they wanted us to see it," Sung replied. "This is their own form of diplomacy." In his quarters, Sung prepared another message to the Council. The humans were neither as peaceful as the Lum hoped nor as recklessly aggressive as the RAC feared. They were something the Confederacy had never encountered before. A species whose caution and readiness for conflict existed alongside genuine desire for peaceful cooperation. And as he watched the human battleship vanish into faster-than-light travel, Ambassador Sung realized that the Confederacy's traditional approaches to diplomacy might not be sufficient for dealing with humanity. The science outpost Europa 7 hung in orbit around the gas giant's moon, a small collection of modules and research equipment. 23 scientists lived there, studying the unusual ice formations and subsurface oceans. They had no weapons, no military training, and no warning when the alien vessels appeared. 3 RAC warships dropped out of FTL travel less than a kilometer from the station. Their angular bodies resembled predatory fish, with forward-facing weapon ports glowing an ominous red. Dr. Chen was the first to spot them. "Control, we have unknown vessels approaching the south docking port." In the control room, Station Director Patil activated the emergency protocols. "All personnel to safety positions. This is not a drill." The RAC ships circled the station, scanning it with intense energy beams that disrupted internal systems. "They're targeting our power core," reported Engineer Lopes. "Systems failing across all decks." Director Patel opened an emergency channel. "Unknown vessels, this is Europa 7, a scientific research station. We are unarmed. Please state your intentions." The response came in the form of a targeted energy pulse that severed the station's main communication array. RAC Commander Vex viewed the human structure through his ship's targeting system. "Those energy readings must be weapons," he told his crew. "Look at the focused power outputs." "Sensor analysis suggests research equipment," his second-in-command replied hesitantly. "The humans are deceptive," Vex snapped. "The Confederacy is too trusting. We will show them the true nature of this predator species." He gave the order to fire a warning shot. The energy beam sliced through one of the station's solar arrays, sending it spinning into space. Inside Europa 7, emergency lights flashed as the station tilted from the impact. "Breach in Section 4, Lopes reported, her voice steady despite the fear. "Sealing emergency bulkheads." Director Patil activated the station's distress beacon, a simple radio signal that would take hours to reach the nearest human outpost. All personnel prepare for emergency evacuation. Before they could reach the escape pods, another blast hit the station, rupturing the main oxygen storage tank. Alarms blared as pressure began dropping across all modules. 200 million kilometers away, the UEA's Retribution was conducting routine patrol maneuvers when the emergency signal reached them. Captain, Communications Officer Park called out, "We're receiving a distress call from Europa 7. They report being under attack by unknown vessels." Captain Kovacs stood immediately. "Confirm that report." Signal verified. Europa 7 reports 3 hostile ships of unknown origin. The message cut off 90 seconds ago. Kovacs turned to her navigation officer. "Calculate emergency jump to Europa 7. All hands to battle stations." The massive ship hummed as hidden systems awakened. Weapon ports previously concealed beneath smooth hull plating slid open. Internal bulkheads sealed as the ship prepared for potential damage. "Jump calculated," the navigation officer reported. "Ready on your mark." "Execute," Kovacs ordered. The Retribution vanished in a flash of blue light, tearing a hole through space-time. On Europa 7, the situation was deteriorating. Half the station was now exposed to vacuum. The remaining scientists huddled in the central module, which still maintained atmosphere. "They're coming around for another pass," Dr. Chen whispered, watching through the remaining viewports as the rack ships positioned for a final attack. The space around the station suddenly distorted as the Retribution emerged from FTL, directly between the station and the rack vessels. Commander Vex stared in shock at the human battleship. It was at least 5 times the size of his largest vessel, its dark hull bristling with weapon ports that hadn't been visible in the Confederacy's intelligence reports. "Evasive maneuvers," he ordered, but it was too late. On the bridge of the Retribution Captain Kovacs assessed the situation in seconds. 3 hostile vessels, unknown configuration, but matching Confederacy drive signatures. Europa 7 has sustained significant damage. She keyed her communication system. "This is Captain Alina Kovacs of the UEA's Retribution *. Unknown vessels, stand down immediately and prepare to be boarded." Commander Vex responded by firing on the human ship. The energy beam splashed harmlessly against the Retribution's shields. "They've made their choice," Kovacs said quietly. "Tactical, disable those ships. Non-lethal measures only." What happened next would be studied in Confederacy military academies for generations. The Retribution fired 3 separate weapon systems simultaneously. The first was a focused electromagnetic pulse that shut down the rack ship's engines. The second was a precision-guided kinetic projectile that destroyed their main weapon emplacements without breaching the hulls. The third was a previously unknown technology that somehow disabled their artificial gravity and life support systems without damaging them. All 3 rack ships hung dead in space, disabled but intact, their crews alive but helpless. The entire engagement had lasted 17 seconds. On a Confederacy observation vessel hidden at the edge of the system, Officer Hyun stared at his tactical display in disbelief. "They disabled 3 warships in 17 seconds, he reported to his commander, his voice trembling. "Without casualties." Commander Taz studied the sensor readings with growing concern. The human vessel concealed most of its capabilities during our observations. Those weapon systems weren't visible even to our detailed scans. "Should we intervene?" asked Hyun. "No," Ta decided after a moment. "We are observers only. Record everything and transmit to the Council." The Retribution deployed shuttlecraft to evacuate the surviving scientists from Europa 7. Other teams boarded the disabled rack vessels, securing their crews. "Captain," reported Security Chief Rodriguez after boarding the rack command ship, "these vessels appear to be Confederacy-aligned. They have diplomatic codes and identification." Captain Kovacs frowned. Ambassador Sung had assured her that no Confederacy vessels would approach human colonies without prior notification. "Secure the crews, but treat them with respect," she ordered. "I want to know why they attacked a civilian research station." Within hours, the full Confederacy Council had convened an emergency session. Ambassador Sung stood before them, his usual calm demeanor replaced by visible distress. "The RAC vessels acted without authorization," he explained. "But the human response reveals capabilities far beyond what they disclosed to us." The chamber erupted in overlapping voices as representatives from 37 species debated the implications. "They could have destroyed those ships," shouted the RAC representative. "This shows their aggressive nature." "They specifically chose non-lethal methods," countered the representative from the peaceful LUM, "despite being provoked by an attack on their civilians." The debate raged for hours as footage of the brief battle played on screens around the chamber. The asterisk retribution's asterisk efficiency was both impressive and terrifying. "Their tactical capabilities exceed our entire defense fleet," noted the military advisor. "And that's just one of their vessels." Finally, the council head called for order. "We face an unprecedented situation. A species with advanced military technology has been provoked by unauthorized action from our side. We must decide how to proceed." After another day of debate, a majority vote settled on a course of action that many considered extreme. The council would demand that humanity disarm its fleet as a show of peaceful intentions. "This is a mistake," Ambassador Sung warned. "The humans developed these weapons for their protection. They will not surrender them." "Then they are not ready to join the galactic community," the council head replied. "We cannot risk having such a militaristic species spreading throughout the stars." Ambassador Sung returned to the human station 3 days later. Captain Kovacs met him in the same conference room, though the atmosphere had changed dramatically. "Your people attacked a civilian science station," Kovacs said without preamble. 23 researchers, no weapons, no military significance. The actions of the RAC were unauthorized and condemned by the Council. Sung replied, "But your response has raised serious concerns about human military capabilities." "We defended our people using the minimum force necessary," Kovacs countered. "No RAC lives were lost." "The Council recognizes your restraint," Sung said carefully. "Nevertheless, they have asked me to deliver their decision." He placed a data device on the table between them. It contained the Council's ultimatum. Humanity must disarm its military vessels and submit to Confederacy oversight, or face containment and possible military action. Captain Kovacs read the message, her expression hardening with each word. "Ambassador," she said finally, "please inform your council that humanity has spent its entire history fighting for its survival. We will not surrender our means of defense. Not now. Not ever." As Ambassador Sung departed the station, he knew that a dangerous line had been crossed. The Confederacy had never faced a species that could match its combined military strength, until now. The Grand Assembly of Confederacy ships gathered at the predetermined coordinates, forming a crescent formation against the backdrop of a blue-white nebula. Over 300 vessels representing all 37 member species hung in the void, ranging from the massive LUM colony ships to the sleek RAC destroyers. Their combined power had never before been assembled in one place, a show of unity and strength, meant to impress upon humanity the futility of resistance. Admiral Park of the Confederacy Defense Fleet watched from the command deck of his flagship, the Harmonious Resolution *. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of nervous anticipation among his species. "Any sign of the human vessel?" he asked. "Nothing yet, Admiral," replied his sensor officer, "though our detection range is limited by the nebula's radiation." The Confederacy had chosen this location carefully, neutral space, but with environmental conditions that would limit long-range sensors and weapons. At least, that was the theory. Human technology had already surprised them more than once. Ambassador Sung stood silently at the rear of the bridge. He had argued against this demonstration of force, believing it would only escalate tensions with the humans. But the Council had overruled him, insisting that humanity needed to understand the overwhelming power of a unified confederacy. "Admiral," the communications officer called suddenly, "we're detecting an FTL signature approaching." All eyes turned to the main view screen as space rippled and tore. The UEA's Retribution emerged from the distortion, its dark hull absorbing the nebulous light. It seemed even larger than before, its angular design standing in stark contrast to the flowing organic shapes of Confederacy vessels. "Just one ship," someone whispered. "They sent just one ship against our entire fleet." Admiral Park felt a chill run down his spine. Either the humans were foolishly overconfident, or they knew something he didn't. "Open a channel," he ordered. The view screen shifted to show the bridge of the Retribution. Captain Alina Kovacs sat in her command chair, her posture relaxed but alert. Several human officers moved efficiently around her at their stations. "Admiral Park," she said without preamble, "I see the Confederacy takes our discussions seriously." "Captain Kovacs," Park replied formally, "the Confederacy Council has authorized me to emphasize the seriousness of our position. Your species must disarm its military vessels as a precondition for further diplomatic relations." Kovacs smiled slightly. "And this fleet is here to ensure our compliance." "This fleet represents the unified will of 37 peaceful species," Park said. "We hope it demonstrates that resistance would be futile." "I understand," Kovacs nodded. "My government has authorized me to provide a counter-demonstration." Before Park could respond, sensors began blaring warnings across the Confederacy fleet. "Multiple FTL signatures," called the sensor officer. "They're appearing throughout the formation." Small objects materialized among the Confederacy ships, hundreds of them, each no larger than a shuttlecraft. They pulsed with energy, but made no aggressive moves. "What are they?" Park demanded. "Unknown technology," replied his science officer. "They appear to be automated drones." On the view screen, Kovacs leaned forward. "Those are AEGIS defensive platforms, normally deployed around our colonies. Each one carries enough firepower to disable a cruiser-class vessel." A murmur ran through the bridge. The humans had somehow transported hundreds of weapons platforms directly into the heart of the Confederacy formation, bypassing all defensive screens and detection systems. "This is unnecessary escalation," Admiral Park said, fighting to keep his voice steady. "Not escalation, Admiral. Education." Kovacs stood from her chair. "My government has instructed me to help you understand humanity's position. With your permission, I will now demonstrate our capabilities and our restraint." Before Park could respond, the Retribution began to move. Its engines flared blue as it accelerated directly toward the center of the Confederacy formation. "Evasive action," Park ordered, but it was too late. The human battleship sliced through the Confederacy line, moving with impossible agility for a vessel of its size. As it passed, precision-targeted energy pulses lanced out from concealed weapon ports. One after another, Confederacy ships found their engines, weapons, or communication systems disabled by surgical strikes. "They're targeting our rack vessels first," noted the tactical officer, disabling their weapon systems with minimal damage to life support. Park watched in stunned silence as the Retribution executed a maneuver that should have been physically impossible, pivoting 180 degrees while maintaining its forward momentum. A second wave of precision strikes disabled the engines of 20 more ships. "Admiral," the communications officer reported, "we're receiving surrender signals from some of our vessels." The AEGIS platforms remained in position, their weapons charged but unfired, silent sentinels ensuring the Confederacy fleet couldn't regroup or coordinate. For 12 minutes, the Retribution continued its demonstration, systematically targeting and disabling key systems across the Confederacy fleet. Not a single shot was fired at crew compartments or life support systems. Not a single life was lost. When it finally came to rest, the human battleship hung in space before the Harmonious Resolution, its weapon ports still glowing with energy. "Admiral," Kovacs said via the still-open channel, "70% of your fleet has been disabled. The remaining 30% is now surrounded by our defensive platforms. At any point, we could have destroyed rather than disabled." Commander Min, whose vessel had been among the first targeted, stared at his status displays as power gradually returned to non-essential systems. "They could have destroyed us," he whispered as his vessel's systems came back online. "But they chose not to." On the bridge of the flagship, Admiral Park fought to comprehend what he had just witnessed. Centuries of Confederacy military doctrine had been rendered obsolete in less than 15 minutes. "Why?" he finally asked. "Why show mercy when you could have claimed victory?" "Because that's not who we are," Kovacs replied simply. "Humanity doesn't seek to destroy unless forced to. We fight to protect, to defend. Overwhelming force is sometimes necessary, but it should be applied with precision and restraint." Ambassador Sung stepped forward then, his eyes fixed on the human captain. "Your warriors show mercy," he said slowly, as if working through a complex equation. "Even in victory." "Not mercy," Kovacs corrected. "Proportionality. We use only the force necessary to achieve our objectives. Anything more would be wasteful and immoral." The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. The Confederacy had always equated military power with the ability to destroy. The humans had just demonstrated a different philosophy entirely, one where superior force was paired with surgical precision and ethical restraint. "The defensive platforms will withdraw now," Kovacs continued. "Your ships will regain full functionality within 3 hours. No permanent damage has been done." As promised, the AEGI's platforms began to vanish, jumping away via the same mysterious FTL method they had used to appear. "Captain Kovacs," Admiral Park said, his voice subdued, "I will report this demonstration to the Council. I cannot predict their response." "I understand, Admiral. Please also convey that Earth remains open to diplomatic relations. We have no desire for conflict with the Confederacy." She paused. "But we will not disarm. Not when our survival may depend on our ability to defend ourselves." The Retribution powered its engines and turned away from the Confederacy fleet. "One final thing, Admiral," Kovacs added. "The technology we've demonstrated today represents a small fraction of our capabilities. We hope this understanding will lead to mutual respect rather than fear." With that, the human battleship accelerated and vanished into FTL travel, leaving behind a stunned Confederacy fleet and countless shattered assumptions. As repair teams worked to restore power across the fleet, Ambassador Sung joined Admiral Park on the observation deck. Together, they watched the nebulous swirling gases, each lost in thought. "I have studied human history since our first contact," Sung said finally. "Their concept of warfare evolved over thousands of years. From total destruction to targeted strikes. From indiscriminate killing to the protection of civilians. Concepts alien to us," Park acknowledged. "Because we never needed them," Sung replied. "The Confederacy achieved peace before developing such weapons. We never had to create ethical frameworks for their use." As the Confederacy fleet slowly regrouped, the two leaders contemplated a troubling new reality. Humanity was not just technologically formidable, but conceptually different. A species that had forged its ethics in the crucible of conflict, emerging with principles the Confederacy had never needed to develop. The standoff had ended, but the true challenge was just beginning. 3 days after the demonstration, the Confederacy Council remained locked in heated debate. Half the representatives argued for peace with humanity, while others insisted on containment or even military action, despite the clear technological gap. Ambassador Sung had just finished presenting his analysis when the chamber's emergency alert system activated. Red lights pulsed along the walls as the massive viewscreen displayed a tactical map of nearby space. "Multiple unknown contacts approaching the Council system," announced the security chief. "Configuration matches historical records of the Void Swarm." A collective gasp swept through the chamber. The Void Swarm was more than an enemy. It was the reason many Confederacy species had abandoned their homeworlds generations ago. An ancient insectoid collective that consumed all organic matter in its path, the swarm had been thought contained in a distant sector of the galaxy. "How many vessels?" asked the council head, her voice steady despite the fear evident in her eyes. "At least 300, possibly more behind them. They'll reach our defensive perimeter in 20 minutes. Most of the Confederacy fleet remained near the nebula, still undergoing repairs after the human demonstration. The Council system had only a token defensive force, mostly patrol vessels and civilian transports. "Begin evacuation procedures," ordered the Council head. "Priority to residential sectors and essential personnel." Ambassador Sung moved quickly to a communication terminal, entering an emergency code he'd been given by Captain Kovacs during their last meeting. He didn't know if the humans would respond, or even if they could arrive in time, but they represented the only real hope for survival. Outside the Council station, the first wave of Void Swarm ships appeared, organic-looking vessels with chitinous hulls and glowing energy signatures where eyes might be on a living creature. They moved with singular purpose toward the gathering of Confederacy ships. The defensive vessels moved to intercept, firing energy weapons that dissipated harmlessly against the swarm's organic shields. Return fire from the swarm ships cut through Confederacy defenses like they were made of paper. "Defensive line has been breached," reported Security Chief Jin from the station's command center. "Patrol vessels are reporting zero effectiveness against swarm shields." On the main evacuation deck, thousands of Confederacy citizens crowded onto transport vessels, panic spreading as news of the swarm's arrival filtered through the crowd. Children cried, adults argued over priority boarding, and security personnel struggled to maintain order. The first civilian transports launched, heading away from the station toward the system's jump point. They made it barely 1,000 kilometers before swarm interceptors moved to block their path. "This is Transport 7, came a frantic call over the emergency channel. "We are carrying 800 civilians, including children. Please respond." The swarm vessels surrounded the transport, preparing to fire. Then space itself seemed to tear open as an FTL portal formed directly between the swarm ships and their prey. The UEA's Retribution emerged from the distortion, its weapons already firing. Unlike the precision strikes used against the Confederacy fleet, these weapons unleashed devastating power. Concentrated energy beams sliced through the swarm's organic shields and hulls, destroying 3 interceptors in the opening salvo. On the bridge of the Retribution, Captain Kovacs assessed the tactical situation with practiced calm. "Multiple civilian vessels attempting evacuation," reported her tactical officer. "Swarm forces concentrating on those targets. Deploy all AEGI's platforms to defensive positions around the transports." Kovacs ordered. "All weapons free. Target swarm command vessels first." The human battleship accelerated toward the heart of the swarm formation, weapons firing continuously. From its launch bays emerged not only the familiar AEGIS platforms, but also smaller combat vessels, fighters piloted by humans who immediately engaged the swarm interceptors threatening the civilian transports. "All civilian vessels, form up behind us," Captain Kovacs broadcast across all Confederacy channels. "We'll cover your retreat. Maintain tight formation and follow the course data we're transmitting." From the Council Station's command center, Security Chief Jin watched in awe as the human battleship charged directly into overwhelming enemy forces. Tactical displays showed the Retribution taking multiple hits, its shields flaring bright blue with each impact, but holding firm. "They're drawing the swarm away from the evacuation route," he realized aloud, sacrificing themselves to buy us time. More human ships began appearing. 3, then 5, then a dozen more dropping out of FTL travel at different points around the system. Each immediately engaged the nearest swarm vessels, coordinating their attacks with a precision that the Confederacy fleet had never achieved. "This is Admiral Chen of the Earth Defense Fleet," came a new voice over the command channel. "We are deploying a defensive perimeter. All Confederacy vessels proceed to the coordinates we're transmitting." In the council chamber, representatives watched the tactical displays with a mixture of hope and disbelief as human vessels, outnumbered nearly 3-1, began to push back against the swarm. "They're using themselves as bait," Ambassador Sung explained as they watched the Retribution take another direct hit, drawing the swarm away from the civilian evacuation corridor. "But why?" asked the LUM representative. "We delivered an ultimatum. We threatened them." "Because that's who they are," Sung replied simply. On the main view screen, they watched as the Retribution's hull split open along previously invisible seams. What emerged was not debris from battle damage, but dozens of massive weapon systems that had been completely concealed during previous encounters. Energy weapons of unprecedented power lashed out at the swarm's largest vessels, cutting through their organic shields and hulls with terrifying efficiency. "Analysis suggests those weapons operate on principles unknown to Confederacy science," reported the technical advisor, her voice hushed with awe. For nearly an hour, the battle raged across the system. Human vessels took damage but continued fighting, their captains executing coordinated maneuvers that gradually corralled the swarm forces away from escape vectors. The Retribution remained at the center of the conflict, its previously hidden weapons systems devastating the largest swarm command ships. Eventually, the remaining swarm vessels broke formation and retreated, jumping to FTL in different directions as the humans continued their relentless assault. When the last swarm ship had fled, the human vessels regrouped near the council station. The Retribution showed signs of significant damage. Hull breaches sealed by emergency force fields, weapon systems offline, its once smooth surface now scared by combat. "This is Captain Kovacs," came the transmission to the council chamber. "The immediate threat has been neutralized. We've dispatched pursuit craft to track the retreating swarm vessels and ensure they don't regroup nearby." The council chamber erupted in relieved cheers and exclamations. The council head raised her hands for silence before activating the communication system. "Captain Kovacs, the Confederacy owes you and your crew an immeasurable debt. You saved countless lives today." "We responded to a distress call," Kovacs replied simply, "as any spacefaring civilization would. But everyone who had witnessed the battle knew it wasn't that simple. The humans had willingly placed themselves in mortal danger to protect others, beings who had, just days before, threatened them with extinction." 2 days later, as repair efforts continued across the system, the Council convened an emergency session. Their decision was unanimous for perhaps the first time in Confederacy history. Ambassador Sung delivered the news to Captain Kovacs in person, boarding the damaged Retribution where repair crews worked around the clock. "The Council has voted to rescind its ultimatum," he said when they met in what remained of the ship's conference room, "and to propose a new alliance between humanity and the Confederacy." Kovacs nodded, her arm in a medical support sleeve from injuries sustained during the battle. "Earth will consider the proposal with interest. The terms are simple," Sung continued. "The Confederacy acknowledges humanity's right to maintain its defense fleet. In return, we request Earth's assistance in defending Confederacy worlds against the swarm." "You're asking us to be your protectors," Kovacs observed. "Yes," Sung admitted without hesitation. "For too long, the Confederacy has fled from the swarm, abandoning world after world. We never developed the means or the will to fight back effectively. Your people have both." Later, as Sung prepared to depart the human vessel, he paused on the observation deck. Through the viewport, he could see both human and Confederacy ships working together to repair the damage from the battle. Security Chief Jin joined him there, watching the same scene. "I used to fear their battleships," Jin said quietly, gesturing toward the humans working alongside Confederacy engineers. "Now I fear what would happen without them." Sung nodded slowly. "When we first saw that human battleship, we knew fear. but we misunderstood what we were seeing." "What do you mean?" "We saw weapons of war and assumed conquest," Sung explained. "But we were seeing shields, not swords. Humanity built its terrible weapons not to dominate, but to protect." As they watched, the asterisk retribution's asterisk damaged hull plates were being replaced, its weapon systems repaired and enhanced. But now, instead of causing dread, the sight filled them with something new: hope. "Perhaps," Ambassador Sung said quietly, "fear is sometimes the appropriate response to strength wielded with wisdom. Not fear of what they might do to us, but fear of what might happen to us without them." The alliance that formed in the aftermath of the swarm attack would reshape the galaxy. Human battleships would become a common sight around Confederacy worlds, not as conquerors, but as guardians. And when the swarm returned in greater numbers,